In this story, I pay tribute to my dad. I'm Joanne Greene. Let's travel back to April 16th, 1981. In celebration of our great new ratings,
from your music authority, KFRC.
The KFRC air staff, of which I was a part, and the radio station's top sponsors, were flown to Las Vegas from San Francisco in a private jet for a one-night blowout party. Had I known that it was my dad's last day on Earth, I would have passed on the jumbo shrimp, the open bar, and the exclusive performance by Mac Davis. Who the hell was Mac Davis? It was just another day in the life my dad had been living since I was 6 years old, when he was hospitalized for 10 days to determine the cause of his partial paralysis and cognitive and emotional decline. If he had a brain tumor, they might be able to remove it. In one test, the pneumoencephalogram, not performed since the late 1970s, a lumbar puncture drained most of his cerebrospinal fluid and replaced it with oxygen and helium so radiologists could see his brain more clearly on an X-ray. The test was painful and often resulted in severe headaches and vomiting long after the procedure. The tests proved nothing, and he continued to live with the diagnosis, degenerative neurological disorder. Our home was filled with palpable anxiety. What if he couldn't work? How would we survive, much less pay for college? Mom did the books for the window cleaning business he purchased from his father. Popsy, as I called him in my preteen years, left the house at 5 a.m. to wash the windows of stores before they opened, stopping for coffee and a donut with the cops on the beat. Those cops got bottles of booze from my dad at Christmas time, and somehow our car with the license plate 39187 never got a parking ticket. One day he found a small faux silver bracelet with a little dangling heart charm in the gutter on Beacon Street and brought it home for me, his Valentine baby. That bracelet means as much to me as his 100-year-old violin. My father had been a concert violinist as a young adult, but gave up his dream to help clean windows after my grandfather suffered a stroke. I never heard him play, just watched him cry every time he heard the sound of a violin. My dad loved classical music, betting on horse races, Tabasco sauce, baked Alaska, and the Jackie Gleason show. I wish that I had spent that last night telling him I would have loved to have known him in his prime. How I would have gone to the track with him, that we would have sat together on the banks of the Charles River, enthralled by the Boston Pops at the Esplanade, that even though we never discussed it, I knew deep inside that my wild appreciation of nature and music, of spicy food and humor, that my feeling too much and having to hide the emotional waves that crashed unexpectedly, that my love of dogs and Judaism, of children and fried food all came from him, and that I treasure all of it. I would have thanked my father for being there, even in a compromised state, for the first 26 years of my life. And I would let him know that I will proudly uphold his traditions and pass them on to our descendants, because that twinkle in his eye, that mischievous, lopsided grin, the crazy nicknames and made-up songs, that loving so hard that it hurts, are deeply precious gifts that must be shared. If you enjoy the memoir-style microessays that I read on In This Story, please consider checking out my full-length book entitled By Accident, A Memoir of Letting Go. It's now available for sale on Amazon and Audible as a paperback, audiobook, or ebook. You can also order a copy through your favorite independent bookseller, which could use your support. Speaking of which, thanks so much for your support. Again, the title is By Accident, A Memoir of Letting Go, by yours truly, Joanne Greene.